welcome to my channel, Naughty Gnome Crafts. My name is Sarah, and you can find me as Naughty Gnome on Instagram. If this is your first time joining me, thank you so much for watching my channel, and if you're a returning viewer, welcome back. I'm so glad that you're here. So today is another episode of Friday Sews. Friday Sews is a hashtag that was started by Jen from Today in Jen's Sewing Room, and I'm back after taking a week off. Last week I wasn't feeling well, so I was not able to record. But I'm back today to let you know what's been going on in the past 2 weeks of my sewing journey. So before we get started, I'll just share with you what I'm wearing today. This is my Hug hoodie that is from Made It Patterns, and I used a bamboo French terry and matching ribbing from Emma One Sock, and I made this back in February for the Black Pattern Designers Challenge. And I really love this top. It's very, very comfortable and warm, and it's snowing today, so I needed something really warm and snuggly to put on. So since the last time I did a Friday Sews episode, I finished my McCall's top, which is M8180, the Mallory McCall's, and I have a full review up on my channel. In case you missed it, I will link it up above, but go check that out. And then after I finished the Mallory top, I started on the Victory Patterns Sophia. So if you watched my fabric haul videos, part 1 and 2, I talked about wanting to make the Victory Patterns Sophia top and dress. So I made the top. This is in a linen gingham that I got from Blackbird Fabrics, and I bought 2 meters, I think, and I had a little bit left over, but I did use quite a bit of the fabric. And this is the size 2. I will try to put this sizing chart up so that you can take a look at what the sizing is for this. And I will be doing a full review on this top, but I'm gonna wait until next week. But that will be coming. So if you want to know more details about this top, I will eventually be posting a review, just not this coming week. So after I finished the Sophia top, Love Notions does a feature Friday where every Friday they have one of their patterns on sale for only $5. And a couple weeks ago they had the Rhapsody blouse and dress on sale. And that pattern had been on my list to buy forever, at least a year. And I just had been holding out until they had it on a $5 sale because it's a very significant discount from their normal price. So since they had it, I went ahead and picked up the pattern. And because I'm trying really hard not to buy patterns and then just let them languish in the stash, I went ahead and cut it out and made it up. So this is my Rhapsody top. And I don't have any modeled photos yet, but I will insert a picture here so you can see what it looks like in full length, since I can't really show it to you from this vantage point. But I used a cotton rayon fabric from Joann, in their Platitudes collection. And if you watched my fabric haul part 1 video, you will see that I've already changed my mind about what I was going to use this fabric for. I was going to make a button-up shirt, but I decided that the plaid was actually perfect for this Rhapsody blouse because it's really simple and there's a very small number of pieces. If you don't do the sleeves, there's only 3 pieces, pattern pieces, that you have to worry about matching. So this top has French seams on the sides, which hopefully you can see that here. And because they're French seams, when I was sewing them for the second time on the outside, one of the side seams lined up really well and matched really well, and then the other one did not quite match up as perfectly. But that's okay, it's not a big deal. Oh, and I'm sorry this is a little bit wrinkled, but I actually just washed this and it's actually still a little bit damp. I don't throw my clothes in the dryer, so I just hang them to dry. And so it's a little bit wrinkled, but you know, what are you gonna do? So I really like how this top has a pleat and then it has a yoke up here. And so I decided to cut the yoke on the bias. Now there's one regret that I have, and that is, I forget where I learned this from. It might have been a Craftsy class, but like ages ago, I sort of remember learning that if you're going to cut a shirt yoke on the bias, you should cut the lining yoke on the straight grain so that it kind of helps to stabilize it and keep it from stretching out. So I did that. You can see on the inside that my yoke lining is on the straight grain. However, this, it's not like see-through, but it's a little bit sheer, so you can see the straight grain yoke underneath this. And so I really should have used just a solid white fabric for the yoke lining. If I had it to do over again, I would have done that. But again, it's really not that big of a deal. It's on the back. The pattern gives you a couple of different ways to finish the neckline. I think you can do a narrow binding or you can do a thicker binding. So I did the narrow binding, but I preference-wise, I don't really like how thin these ties are. If I were gonna make the top again, I think I would just use the thicker ones because I just like the look of that better. But it went together pretty easily, and I really liked how the little notched V is made with and finished off with the binding. The only fitting issues that I had with this top is, so I was a little bit skeptical. This pattern has like 9 different sleeve variations, and that's one of the things that appealed to me so much. But I made this sleeveless top because I barely have any tank tops in my wardrobe. Like, I have no idea why, but I just don't have hardly any sleeveless tops, either woven or knit. And I wanted to fix that for the summer that's coming up. I wanted to add more sleeveless tops. So I made the sleeveless version, but I was a little bit skeptical that there's not a separate pattern piece for the sleeveless version. It's all the same. So I was worried that the armholes were going to be a little bit off on the sleeveless version, and I was right. They are a little bit low, and you can kind of see my bra peeking out. It's not a big deal, and I'll still wear it, but I think next time, if I want to do the sleeveless version, I would raise the armhole a little bit. And the other thing is that this seems to be like a common thing for me with Love Notions patterns, is I have a relatively average length torso, but for whatever reason, Love Notions patterns are often a little bit longer than I prefer. And I kind of think it's because it seems like just looking at their catalog and like all their different models and stuff, is I think that they often just tend to design for more of like tunic length or just longer length tops. And I don't like that because I have a normal size torso but extremely short legs. And so if I wear a tunic top, it just emphasizes how my proportions are really off and makes my legs look even shorter. So it is never going to be my preference to have a long top. I always want to have a top that hits me around like the high hip level. So I should have checked that before I started, and I didn't. And so this top is a little bit longer than I would prefer, but I'll probably mostly wear it tucked in, so it's not a big deal. But next time I make it, I think I've already shortened the pattern 1.5 inches just to make it a little bit shorter for my preference. Other than that, I really do like this. I think it's going to be nice and light for summer. And as I think I mentioned at the start of the video, it's snowing right now, so I'm not going to be wearing it relatively soon, but hopefully when the weather warms up, I can get a lot of wear out of this top. So those are all of the projects that I completed in these past 2 weeks, and now I will move on to what I'm working on right now. So since after I finished the Sophia top, I wanted to go ahead and make the dress because I had already wound a bunch of bobbins with elastic thread. And I don't know about you guys, but even though I have like 8 million bobbins, for some reason, they're all full all the time. And so I couldn't justify like having like 3 bobbins wound with elastic thread just sitting there not being used. I needed to use some of that thread so that I could free up some bobbins. So I went ahead and cut out the fabric for the Sophia dress as well. So this is, might be upside down. This is what I have so far. All I've done is I sheared both of the bodice pieces. So I've got 2 of these, and this is a rayon rather than the linen, and so this shrank up a lot more than the linen did. So it's already pretty. I haven't even steamed this, and it's already pretty textured. I did mark all of my lines with a washable Crayola marker because there's just, even with a guide, there's no way I would be able to keep the line straight if I didn't mark it. So I marked it off beforehand. And so now I'm ready to put the elastic in the top and put the bodice together, and then I can start working on the dress portion. So that's what I'm working on right now, and hopefully I'm gonna finish that sometime next week. And then after that, I don't know if I'm gonna be able to get this done before the end of April. but pretty much the only one of my April plans that I have not gotten to yet is this Ashley McCall's dress M8177. I really want to make this version, the shorter version of the dress, but I'm gonna do shorter sleeves. And I just realized that I did not grab the fabric. I'm gonna grab that and show it to you. So this is Rifle Paper Company Rayon in Strawberry Fields fabric. And I love Rifle Paper Company. I've bought a lot of their fabrics and I just think that they're so beautiful. And this is what I'm going to use for my Ashley McCall's dress. And I just think it's gonna be so wonderful. I really have no idea why I waited until the very end of the month to use this, because I've been so eager to make this dress, but I guess I just haven't had a chance to get around to doing it. But like I said, I don't know if I'm gonna have time to actually finish this dress before the end of April, but I'm hoping to at least get it started. And I have already prepped the pattern, and so I'm ready to cut out this fabric as soon as I finish the Sophia dress. So those are my plans for next week. So the only other sewing related thing that I wanted to talk about that's happened in the past couple of weeks is that I took out a subscription to Fibre Mood. They just came out with their new issue, I think it's Fibre Mood 14. And I've been thinking about subscribing for a while because I have used some Fibre Mood patterns in the past and I've liked them. I would say their instructions aren't super great, but compared to something like Berta, they're much better. And I tend to be the kind of person that doesn't like super wordy instructions anyway. I know that a lot of people love them, but some of the indies where their instructions just go on and on and on for like 20 pages, it's like, good grief, like it's just so much detail. I don't really like that. So I think the Fibre Mood instructions for me are actually pretty adequate, I would say. So like I said, I've sewn a few of their designs up from their PDF patterns, and I like their style. I really like that they tend to be a little bit more fashion forward, but the actual sewing patterns, the designs are usually fairly simple. Like maybe they have one or two interesting details, but the shapes are pretty basic and easy to sew. And sometimes you just want that. I sometimes will just want to like sit down and sew something fairly easy, like the Rhapsody blouse. It doesn't take a lot of, thought, brain power. So I like that about their patterns, and I like their aesthetic. And then, so I decided to take out the combo subscription where you get the paper magazine, and then you also get 5 PDF downloads per issue. So you don't have to download PDFs from that issue. You can download it from any of their back catalog that you want. So I got the combo subscription because I wanted the paper magazine, because maybe it's because I'm older and this is like an old school thing, but I enjoy the experience of getting a magazine in the mail, like sitting down with a cup of coffee or tea and just like flicking through the magazine. Like I just enjoy that tactile sensation. But I really, really hate tracing patterns, because you have to, in the patterns in the magazine, you have to trace them and add seam allowance. And I really hate doing that. Maybe I'm weird, but I would much rather print off a million PDFs and tape them together than trace. So I got the combo subscription so that I can have the experience of flicking through the magazine, but I can print off the patterns via PDF, the ones that I know that I really want to make, and then also have access to some of the back catalog. If there's some of the other designs that I want to download and print out, I can do that. And then I do still have the paper magazine, so that if in the future, if I decide, oh, I really wanted to go back and make this pattern and I don't have the access to the PDFs anymore, I do have the paper magazine. So if I'm motivated enough, I can go ahead and trace that out and make it. So let me know if you have a subscription to Fibre Mood, or if you like their patterns, if you like their designs. I really like their social media and how they do have so many testers, or I don't know how it works with them, but when they have a magazine launch, they just have so many different versions of their designs out there in the world on normal, non-model people. And I love looking through those pictures on Instagram and just getting a feel for what the patterns look like in different fabrics on different bodies. And I kind of want to support that, because I think that's a really good thing that they're doing. So my shout out this week goes to Talisha, who has the channel Creativity by T. I know that she is an ambassador for the Sew Maxi for Mother's Day challenge, and so probably a lot of you are currently following her, and I can see why. She has a great channel. I love the things that she makes, and she recently made this really gorgeous Giselle dress that just looked so beautiful, and I think that's when I started following her. And I think her most recent video, she just did a review with her husband where she had made him a shirt, and it was just very sweet, and you could see how much he liked the shirt and how like the two of them, their interaction was just really endearing. So I just wanted to recommend that channel this week. If you haven't followed her, go check her out, and I will leave a link to her channel in the description down below. So the last thing that I have for you today is a podcast recommendation, and this week I am happy to report that it is true crime free, so it's not about murder. So the podcast that I have to recommend is called Deeply Human, and if you listen to Hidden Brain on NPR, it's kind of similar. So it's about like psychology and sort of like why we do the things that we do, but it's a little bit less cerebral than Hidden Brain. I'd say it's just a little bit more like pop culture entertaining sort of. The host is Dessa, and I think it's a collaboration with the BBC. They have several episodes like out. I think there's like 8 of them right now, and every week is a different topic. So they've done topics like why do we feel pain, and why they did an episode on lying, they did an episode on dating. So it's just a really good podcast if you are interested in psychology and why we do the things that we do. So I think that's everything that I have for you this week. Thank you so much for joining me, and if you like this video, please hit the like button and consider subscribing to my channel. I'll talk to you next time.